Chapter 5. Days close together. The provincial hospital was near a rice field. In the early morning you could hear the sound of birds calling to each other, and in the late afternoon was the smell of sunshine lingering on each tree trunk, each old tiled roof. I don't understand why. The place that once made me feel suffocated and foreign, now felt so comfortable. Maybe it was because Dad was here. And for the first time in so many years, I didn't have to avoid him anymore. My father didn't talk much. After the stroke, he spoke weakly, walked slowly, but his eyes were different. The eyes of someone who had stood between life and death, and now was starting to cherish every remaining moment. We started over, not with deep conversations, but with very small things. Every morning, I took Dad out to the hospital hallway so he could breathe fresh air. I would often read the newspaper, while he sat quietly looking towards the fields. Sometimes, he would smile faintly when he saw the children playing in the yard. When you were little, did you often laugh like those kids? I was quiet, breathing softly for him. A seemingly meaningless question, but for me, it was a sign. Dad wanted to know about me, something he had never asked for so many years. Yes, I replied, smiling back, but currently there isn't much reason. He also smiled, nodding. We didn't say anything more. But just that much was enough. I started telling Dad more. About the time during my student years I worked part-time at a pho restaurant in the morning, about being favored by customers, about not having enough money to pay rent. Dad listened very carefully, sometimes furrowing his brow, sometimes frowning as if pained that he hadn't been there when I needed him. One afternoon, as I was clearing the small bedside table in the room, Dad called out softly, "Come here, take a look at this." I walked over. Dad opened the drawer of the bedside table, took out a bundle of yellowed papers. Inside was a small, old notebook. I opened it. The first page was scribbled with a ballpoint pen. "Diary for my son, from a father who doesn't know how to say, 'I love you.'" I froze. The first page recorded the day my mother passed away. The lines were slanted, shaky. He didn't cry. He just sat quietly, holding the scarf Mom left behind. I don't know how to comfort him. I just know, looking at him, my heart felt like it was being squeezed. The next pages were short notes. "He's quiet today too. He likes to eat rice soaked in braised fish sauce. He has a fever. No mother. I made lemonade but he wouldn't drink it. He's angry. I'm angry too. But when I came back at night and saw him lying curled up, I couldn't get angry." I read each line, tears falling onto the small notebook. Dad wasn't unfeeling. He just didn't know how to express it. And because of that awkwardness, we had drifted apart for so many years. I hugged the notebook, looked up at him. Dad looked at me, his eyes red, and said softly, "Dad," hid it very carefully. Afraid you would think Dad was weak. I took his hand. I only wish Dad had shown it to me sooner. But it's okay. Now, I understand. And I truly understood. The following days passed peacefully. We relearned how to live together, like two strangers learning to be friends, then family. I helped Dad take small steps in the hospital hallway. I took him to the yard every afternoon, telling him random stories. I sang to him, like he used to sing to me when I was little. We ate together, sometimes just a bowl of plain porridge, but it felt strangely warm. One day, Dad said, "Will you ever forgive Dad completely?" I was silent for a moment, then replied, "Forgive doesn't mean forget, Dad. But I won't let the past hurt me anymore. Choosing to continue loving beautifully every day, that's the most beautiful thing." He looked at me for a long time, and nodded. We started talking more about Mom. About the days when the three of us were still together. About the shirt Mom knitted for me before she passed away. About the fried fish dish I used to eat the most at lunch. The more we talked, the more I realized, it wasn't that we didn't have beautiful memories. It's just that we had let the pain overshadow everything. And now, each memory was returning, like part of the recovery, like a glimmer of light after days of heavy rain. When my 1-month leave ended, Dad could walk again with a cane. He even joked, "Now Dad is like you were when you were little, needing someone to go slowly, guiding each step." I laughed, "So we're even." Back then I relied on Dad. Now Dad relies on me. That's life. Dad nodded, his eyes sparkling, the eyes I had longed to see throughout my childhood.
I will share with you more healing videos. Help you feel lighter, more motivated in this life. Please help me have more motivation to make videos by subscribing to the channel, sharing with people who need this video like you. Thank you very much.